Imagine planning your dream vacation only to find out you're not welcome. We're talking about countries that are straight up saying no to Filipinos in 2025. Yes, you heard that right. Entire nations are closing their doors. I know, right? It's crazy to think that, in today's world, there are still places that are completely off-limits based on where you come from. It's like stepping back in time. We're gonna uncover the real reasons behind these travel bans. The politics, the history, the stuff they don't want you to know. There's always more than meets the eye. But before we get started, hit that like button. Your support helps us bring more eye-opening content to you. If we can get this video to 100 likes, it'll prove that we're all about spreading awareness about these important issues. Let's make it happen, guys. Alright, let's jump right into the list of 10 countries Filipinos can't visit in 2025. Stay tuned, because some of these might really surprise you. Our first stop takes us to the land of the rising sun, Japan. This beautiful country is a blend of ancient traditions and cutting-edge technology, making it a fascinating destination for travelers from all over the world. Now, Japan has always been a popular destination for Filipinos, known for its stunning culture, delicious cuisine, and technological advancements. From the serene beauty of cherry blossoms to the bustling energy of Shibuya Crossing, there's something for everyone. But recently things have taken a turn. The Japanese government has made some significant changes that are affecting travelers. The Japanese government has implemented stricter visa requirements, making it significantly harder for Filipinos to get in. Why the sudden change? It's a question on many minds. Well, it all boils down to one thing: overstaying. This issue has become a major concern for the authorities. Apparently, there's been a surge in Filipinos overstaying their visas, and it's causing some serious concerns for the Japanese authorities. This has led to a crackdown on visa regulations. They're worried about illegal immigration and potential strain on their resources. The government is taking these measures to ensure the safety and stability of their country. So, if you're planning a trip to Japan anytime soon, make sure you've got all your paperwork in check, or you might find yourself turned away at the border. It's more important than ever to be prepared. Next up, we're heading over to the world's most populous country, China. Now, China and the Philippines have a bit of a complicated history, especially when it comes to territorial disputes in the South China Sea. And, unfortunately, that tension has spilled over into travel restrictions. The Chinese government has become increasingly wary of Filipino travelers, and they've made it clear that they're not exactly rolling out the red carpet. Visa applications are being scrutinized more heavily, and the approval rates have plummeted. It's a real shame because China has so much to offer visitors, from its ancient wonders to its bustling modern cities. But for now, it seems like the Great Wall of China might be a little too high for Filipinos to climb. Alright guys, for our next destination, we're venturing into a country shrouded in secrecy and mystery, North Korea. This enigmatic nation has long fascinated and perplexed the world with its closed-off nature and strict government control. From its grandiose military parades to its tightly controlled media, North Korea remains one of the most secretive countries on the planet. Now, North Korea has always been known for its isolationist policies, but in recent years they've become even more restrictive, especially when it comes to Filipino visitors. The country has implemented stringent measures to control who can enter and leave, making it increasingly difficult for outsiders to get a glimpse of life within its borders. The reasons behind this are complex and not entirely clear. Some experts suggest that the North Korean government is wary of foreign influence and wants to maintain its ideological purity. Others point to internal security concerns and the regime's desire to prevent any potential threats to its stability. Some speculate that it's due to North Korea's close ties with China and their shared stance on the South China Sea dispute. The relationship between these two nations is multifaceted, involving economic, political, and military cooperation, which might influence North Korea's policies towards other countries, including the Philippines. Others believe it's simply a way for the North Korean government to maintain its tight grip on information and control the flow of outsiders into their country. By limiting access, the regime can better manage its image and prevent any unwanted scrutiny from the international community. Whatever the reason, one thing's for sure: getting into North Korea as a Filipino in 2025 is going to be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. The barriers to entry are high and the process is fraught with challenges, making it one of the most difficult destinations to visit in the world. Chapter 4. Hold on tight, guys, because we're about to enter the vast and often unpredictable territory of Russia. Now, Russia has always been a country with strict visa regulations, but recent geopolitical events have made things even more complicated for Filipinos. The ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine has sent shockwaves across the globe, and it's had a direct impact on travel restrictions. The Russian government has become increasingly wary of foreigners, and they've tightened their grip on who they're letting in. For Filipinos, this means that getting a Russian visa in 2025 is going to be a long shot. The application process is notoriously difficult, and the chances of approval are slim to none. Chapter 5. Our next stop takes us to Belarus, a country often referred to as Europe's last dictatorship. Now, Belarus has a history of human rights violations and political repression, and that's led to strained relations with many countries, including the Philippines. In recent years, the Belarusian government has cracked down on dissent and imposed strict controls on freedom of speech and assembly. This has resulted in international condemnation and sanctions, making it extremely difficult for Filipinos to travel there. Visa applications are often rejected without explanation, and those who do manage to get in face constant surveillance and the risk of arbitrary detention. Chapter 6. Get ready for a somber journey, guys, as we head into the war-torn nation of Syria. For over a decade, Syria has been ravaged by a brutal civil war, leaving its people displaced and its infrastructure in ruins. The conflict has created a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions, and it's made travel to Syria virtually impossible, especially for Filipinos. The Philippine government has issued a travel ban to Syria, urging its citizens to avoid all travel to the country due to the extreme dangers posed by the ongoing fighting. Even if you could get a visa, which is highly unlikely, traveling to Syria would be incredibly risky. Hold on tight, guys, because we're about to enter a region gripped by conflict and humanitarian crisis, Yemen. For years, Yemen has been embroiled in a devastating civil war, turning the country into a living nightmare for its people. The fighting has destroyed infrastructure, displaced millions, and created a severe humanitarian crisis. The situation in Yemen is so dire that the Philippine government, along with many others, has issued a strict travel advisory, urging its citizens to avoid all travel to the country. The risks are simply too high, with widespread violence, kidnappings, and the constant threat of airstrikes. Chapter 8, Country 8, Somalia. Our journey takes us to the Horn of Africa, to a country plagued by instability and conflict, Somalia. For decades, Somalia has been torn apart by civil war, terrorism, and famine, making it one of the most dangerous countries in the world. The Somali government has limited control over its territory, and vast areas are controlled by armed groups, including the notorious Al-Shabaab. The security situation is extremely volatile, with frequent bombings, kidnappings, and attacks on civilians. Traveling to Somalia is incredibly risky for anyone, and for Filipinos, it's strongly discouraged. Chapter 9, Country 9, Afghanistan. Get ready for a journey into a land marked by conflict and uncertainty, Afghanistan. After decades of war and foreign intervention, Afghanistan is now under the control of the Taliban, a group known for its strict interpretation of Islamic law. The Taliban's takeover has plunged Afghanistan into chaos and uncertainty, with reports of human rights abuses, restrictions on women's rights, and a humanitarian crisis unfolding. The security situation in Afghanistan remains highly volatile, with the threat of violence and terrorism looming large. Traveling to Afghanistan is extremely dangerous, especially for Filipinos, and it's strongly advised against. Chapter 10, Country 10, Iran. Our final destination takes us to the Middle East, to a country shrouded in political tension, Iran. Iran has been at odds with the United States and its allies for decades, and this has resulted in sanctions, diplomatic standoffs, and a climate of mistrust. The Iranian government has strict Islamic laws in place, and visitors, especially women, are expected to adhere to strict dress codes and social customs. Traveling to Iran as a Filipino can be challenging, as visa requirements are stringent, and the political climate can be unpredictable. While Iran has a rich history and culture, it's important to be aware of the potential risks and challenges before considering a trip there. So there you have it, guys, 10 countries that Filipinos might find extremely difficult, if not impossible, to visit in 2025. It's a stark reminder that freedom of movement is a privilege, not a right. But hey, the world is a big place, and there are still countless other destinations to explore. What other countries do you think will be off limits in the future? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more eye-opening videos like this one. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.